We got a winner of Survivor Australia versus the world. I wanted to make a video breaking down their entire win, so if you've not seen the finale yet, this is your spoiler warning. Congratulations to Parvati, earning her win in Samoa 15 years after her tragic loss on Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. Straight up, this is the most dominant game in Parvati's entire Survivor career. She gains control of the numbers on day 1, and despite serving as the head strategic force for most of the season, Parvati never has her name written down at a tribal council. With that said, there are some minor missteps along the way. In the first World Tribal Council, she's exposed by Rob for her pre-game connection to David. She's able to quickly dispatch of Rob, but I think that elimination was more so due to Cirie's connections to the international players, especially Lisa. Then walking into the second World Tribal Council, Parvati wanted to keep Tony as a shield for the post-merge. She ultimately takes him out for 2 reasons. One is that Tony loses trust in her and he paints a target on her back. To me though, the bigger reason why Parvati cuts Tony is because she doesn't have the numbers to keep him around. Cirie already pulled Cass and Lisa as locked Tony votes, so the best Parvati could do was force a tie. That was a round where Parvati did not necessarily get her way. So you could argue that Cirie maintained slightly more agency in the early game, but the post-merge is another story. Parvati grabs the game by the horns in the second half, and she's the primary person responsible for directing that duo to the Final 4. At Final 10, Parvati builds this tight connection with Kirby. She plays on Kirby's paranoia to the point where she convinces her to flip on her number 1 ally and give the original World Tribe the numbers advantage. All of that is great, but then you get the final 9 where Parvati is pressured into cutting Kirby. Parvati herself admitted in the final Tribal Council that she trusted Kirby. She did not want to lose that ally so early in the post-merge, but she went through with that move in order to regain trust with the international players. The final 8 marks Parvati's most impressive round of the game. She correctly recognizes that the other players are turning against her, and she responds by flashing her immunity idol. That move pushes the target off of Parv, but what's even more impressive is what she does after the casting of the votes. Parvati lies about the rules of her knowledge is power advantage. She scares Cass out of using the idol on herself, and they vote Cass out. Then at the final 7, Parvati takes out the original orchestrator of her blind side in Tommy. Parvati demonstrates a lot of agency in those rounds, but I'm not sure if she used all of her power optimally. Out of all the international players, Lisa was the closest to Cirie, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Lisa survives the longest. By keeping Lisa in the game, Parvati provided Cirie with more strategic options outside their partnership. Anyways, it doesn't really matter as Lisa is voted out at Final 6. In that round, we see the alliance of Cirie, Parvati, Luke, and Janine solidify. Parvati willingly rips up her knowledge as power advantage as a sign of trust for Luke. That move pays off at the Final 5, where Luke and Janine stayed loyal in cutting their fellow Aussie in Shawnee. I still don't like that Parvati needed to sacrifice an advantage for her alliance, but it was clearly the right move for her game. By the Final 4, Parvati is sitting in a great spot. She's the top jury threat on the board. I think she beats anyone here in a jury vote. Plus, she had Cirie as an ally that genuinely wanted to go to the final tribal council with her. There's a couple issues that I take with Parvati's endgame though. First, there's the fact that she more than likely needs final immunity. I bet that if Janine or Luke wins that last challenge, they send Parvati into fire making over Cirie. Second, there's Parvati's vision of the final tribal. Parvati wanted to go to the end with Cirie, and while I think she wins in that scenario, it's definitely a closer vote. In other words, Parvati was not aiming for her ideal final tribal council combination. Third, there's the final 4 vote itself, where Parvati cannot convince Janine to turn on Luke. Cirie goes out in fire making, and Parvati faces off against Luke and Janine in the final tribal, where she earned 6 out of 7 jury votes. Overall, this is a masterclass from Parvati. It's easily her best game in the last 20 years. I haven't combined my rankings for international and US Survivor winners, but if I did, Parvati's win would rank in my complete dominance tier. It's a top 4 winning game alongside Kim Spradlin on One World, Earl Cole on Survivor Fiji, and Boston Rob on Survivor Redemption Island. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on Parvati's win.